You know how everyone's always saying, like, get ready for surprises when you're pregnant?
Yeah.
Well, it's true. But some surprises are better than others, right?
Hmm.
Like tiny baby socks, adorable.
The best.
But then there are the ones that leave you kind of confused.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is it just me, or is everyone obsessed with ginger tea during pregnancy?
Right.
It's like a ritual or something. But is it actually good for you, or is it another one of those old wives' tales?
It makes you wonder.
So that's what we're diving into today, because you asked about it. Ginger tea. Miracle cure or overhyped? We've got research papers, tons of personal stories, even a whole guide on brewing the perfect cup, all to give you the info you need without the fluff.
I love that.
Now, I'm guessing you've at least heard of ginger tea, but just so we're all on the same page, what exactly are we talking about here?
It's actually super simple. Basically, ginger tea is just, you take fresh ginger root or even powdered ginger and you steep it in hot water. It's been around forever, used in so many cultures, and it's got that spicy, warm flavor.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. This isn't some fancy latte situation,
Nope, not at all.
which I appreciate, because let's be real, pregnancy brain is real.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not just here to talk about a tasty drink.
Yeah.
Ginger tea is practically famous for being this, like, pregnancy cure-all.
Oh, totally.
And we saw a lot about it helping with morning sickness. One woman even said it was her lifesaver in those first few months. You mentioned struggling with nausea yourself.
Oh, big time. Especially in my first trimester, it was rough.
So maybe this could have been your lifesaver too, but like with any good myth, we got to separate fact from fiction, right?
Absolutely. Got to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. So is there actually any science behind this?
Well, the cool thing is, those anecdotes you mentioned about ginger helping with nausea,
Yeah.
they actually line up with real scientific research.
No way. So it's not just people thinking it helps.
Nope. There are actual studies showing it. Like one that really stood out to us was from the Nutrition Journal back in 2014.
Okay, what did they do?
So they looked specifically at ginger's effects on morning sickness, and they found it was seriously effective in reducing how bad it was. And get this, they even used a placebo group, which tells you they were serious about this.
Wow. So they wanted to be extra sure it was actually the ginger making the difference.
Exactly.
That's wild. And this wasn't just a one-off study.
Right. We found another one from 2013 in the International Journal of Preventive Medicine. They actually compared ginger to vitamin B6 for treating nausea and vomiting during pregnancy. And guess what?
Oh, what? Don't leave me hanging.
They found ginger was just as good as vitamin B6. And vitamin B6, that's what doctors often recommend for morning sickness. So to have this natural thing that works just as well, it's huge.
Right. Like it's not just covering up the symptoms. It might actually be getting at, like, the root cause of the nausea.
Yeah, it seems that way,
Right.
which is really cool. Right?
That's amazing. But, okay, I got to ask, because you know how it is when you're pregnant, you're worried about every little thing. Are there downsides to ginger tea? We've talked about all the good stuff, but...
Oh, for sure. I mean, even though it's natural, you still got to be careful. So let's talk about those concerns you mentioned, like the miscarriage risk. Big one.
Huge. I know that's, like, top of mind for so many expecting moms. So what did we find out?
Okay, so there was this review from 2012, BMC Complementary and Alternative Medicine. They looked into this specifically, and they found that, yeah, extremely high doses of ginger, like way more than you'd ever have in tea, might be a problem. But
So we're talking, like, way more than those 1 to 3 cups a day.
oh, yeah, definitely not just a couple cups of tea.
Okay, that's good to know. It's
Right.
all about being sensible.
Right, exactly. Moderation is key with everything, but especially during pregnancy. Now, the other thing you mentioned was interactions with medication, and that's where it gets a little trickier.
Yeah, because ginger's a blood thinner. Right. Like, it can slow down how your blood clots.
Right. So that's why it's super important to talk to your doctor if you're on any meds, especially anything to do with blood clotting, just to be safe.
It's so easy to think, oh, it's natural, it's fine. But like we're seeing, it's always better to check, especially when you're pregnant.
100%. And that kind of leads to another big point. Listening to your body, those guidelines are helpful, but everyone's pregnancy is different. So even within that 1 to 3 cups a day, if something feels off,
Like you just don't feel right after.
yeah, then cut back or stop and talk to your doctor.
That makes sense. Our bodies are pretty smart, right?
The smartest.
And during pregnancy, they're working overtime. Okay, so we've talked about benefits, possible risks, moderation, listening to your body. Exactly. Now, for anyone who's thinking, okay, I'm sold, how do I make this magical ginger tea?
Right. And the best part is it's super easy, which, hello, very important when you've got pregnancy brain.
Seriously, like the easier the better. So spill the tea. How do we make the perfect cup?
So we found this awesome guide, and it said you can use fresh ginger root or powdered ginger, whichever's easier for you. Just simmer it in hot water for a few minutes, and boom, you've got ginger tea.
Wow. That's it. See, I told you easy.
Yeah.
And you can make it as strong or as weak as you like.
Exactly. And there's this cool tip from the guide, too. You can add a pinch of salt for electrolytes. Super helpful during pregnancy, right?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially because dehydration.
The struggle is real.
Tell me about it. They also mentioned adding honey or lemon for taste, which, let's be real, those pregnancy taste buds can be all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you crave the weirdest stuff.
This is making me wish I knew about all this when I was pregnant. You know, this whole conversation has me thinking we focus a lot on early pregnancy, but what about later on, like during labor?
Oh, interesting. What about it?
Well, we were talking about how ginger can, like, relax your muscles, right? And how it can help with back pain.
Right, yeah.
So I was thinking maybe it could help during labor, too.
Oh, interesting.
Like, could it ease those aches and pain?
That's a really cool thought. I haven't looked into that specifically, but it makes sense. I mean, we know ginger can help with muscle tension, and it's already great for those other pregnancy things.
Right. Like, why not labor, too? It just goes to show, even with all the research out there, there's always more to learn.
Totally. It's like this never-ending journey of discovery.
I love it. Okay, but before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's bring it back to our listener. What are the key takeaways from our ginger tea deep dive?
Definitely. I think the biggest one is that ginger tea can be super helpful during pregnancy. It's not just a yummy drink, it actually has science backing it up.
And don't forget all those personal stories. People who felt like it really made a difference, whether it was with morning sickness or just staying hydrated.
It's true. But, and I think we've made this clear, it's not magic. Like any remedy, you got to be smart about it.
For sure. Moderation and listening to your body, right?
Exactly.
And that's where your doctor comes in. They can help you figure out if ginger tea is right for you, how much to drink, make sure it doesn't mess with any meds you're taking.
Yes. Always a good idea to keep that communication open with your doctor throughout your whole pregnancy.
Absolutely. Think of this deep dive as like a starting point for those conversations. We've given you the info, the research, some things to think about. Now it's about taking all that and seeing what works for you.
Exactly. You've got the knowledge, now you've got the power.
Yes. And hey, maybe you'll even inspire our next deep dive. We're always looking for new things to explore, new questions to answer.
Always. That's what makes it fun.
I love that. Well, that brings us to the end of our ginger tea deep dive. Huge thank you to you, our amazing listener, for sending in this topic. We had a blast learning about ginger tea with you. Can't wait to see what you send our way next. Until then, happy sipping.